This is Common Sense. My name is Sashi Nathan, co-founding lawyer at Commons Legal, and this is...
I'm Ben Stuttard, also a lawyer at Commons, criminal solicitor.
So we're going to talk today about disclosure, and Ben's going to explain a bit about, what is disclosure? Why is it important?
Well, disclosure is basically the principle that the prosecution in a criminal case shouldn't be able to keep material that they have which could undermine their case or could help the defendant's case. It's a basic principle of fairness, essentially, that to get a fair trial, the prosecution have to show you things that can help you if they've got hold of them.
And why is it important? I mean, can it lead to miscarriages of justice, for example?
Well, obviously, if the prosecution have evidence which casts a very different light on a case, if they have a witness who says that the person wasn't there, or if they have phone records which suggest something else, or they have, in a sex case, for example, a contact between the complainant and the defendant which suggests that everything was consensual, then that material ought to be disclosed. It has to be disclosed because the jury need to see that. They need to see that material. They need to understand the full picture, not just the evidence that the prosecution rely on. And
what's the problem now? Like, why has this become a big political issue?
The problem recently has been that there's been a number of cases where at the very last minute the prosecution have disclosed evidence which does exactly that, which completely undermines their case or supports what the defendant was saying all along. And that's resulted in the collapse of cases at the last minute and the defendant being exonerated, being found not guilty.
And presumably there's a cost implication of these cases that go right to the wire and then collapse.
Well, there's that. There's the time that the defendants spend on bail, or in some cases in custody awaiting their trial. And all of those problems have come to a light recently because of a number of cases where where trials have collapsed very late at the last minute because of this new material has been provided to the defence, which has essentially obliterated the prosecution case.
Why do we think this is happening? Like, how have we got to this, what sounds like quite a drastic situation?
Well, I think it's nothing new for a lot of people involved in the criminal justice system. This is nothing new at all. It happens on a regular basis, happens on a daily basis. The only thing that's new really is that the level of publicity attached to it has suddenly changed as a result of a few high-profile cases. This has been going on for many years because of underfunding, because of a general indifference, I think because of a reluctance of police to investigate and look for material which doesn't help their theory, that help their case theory. And it's all come to a head now, and it's getting a lot of public attention.
One of the most sort of controversial aspects of this is, are there people in prison right now, or are there potentially people in prison right now who shouldn't be there because evidence hasn't been disclosed in their cases?
Well, the head of the Crown Prosecution Service says she doesn't think so. There was a survey which was published yesterday of criminal defence lawyers, and up to a third of them said that they think that there have been possible miscarriages of justice and wrongful convictions based on disclosure failings. So that it remains to be seen. I think my personal view is that it will be it's almost impossible to see how it cannot be the case. There is at least one person in prison who wouldn't be there were it for a disclosure problem.
So more investment, more time and resources for police, prosecutors, defence lawyers and potentially judges as well. I guess that's a political question, and that's something that the government needs to do.
Indeed, I think it's helpful now that the level of coverage that we're getting is shedding a light on this. The public are becoming aware of the problem, which ought to mean that people take it more seriously from an early stage, early on in cases, and that hopefully these things don't come to light at the last minute, which is what's happening at the moment all the time in every court in the country.
Cool. Well, thanks for explaining that. Disclosure isn't the only issue in the criminal justice system that is problematic at the moment, and in this series, Common Sense, we're going to explore more of those. So stay tuned, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube or on LinkedIn. Thanks very much.